Conclusion. We are destiny. The conclusion tells a story about a religious novice who is traveling to the temple of the Lord. And on the way, he stops by various towns and cities to look for provision and to look for shelter. He passes through this village, and in the village, this young couple welcome him into their home. They look after him, clean his clothes, give him some food for the journey. But when he's leaving, they say to him, "We've been trying to have children with no success. Could you pray to the Lord when you get to the temple and intercede on our behalf?" The young novice says, "Yeah, of course." And when he gets finally to the temple of the Lord, after he has given his offerings and prayed his prayers and asked for confession, he said, "When I traveled here, a young couple looked after me, and I want to intercede on their behalf and ask that you would give them children." But God replied, "I'm sorry. It is not in their destiny to have children." So the religious novice thought no more of it. But 5 years later, he again made a pilgrimage to the temple. And he thought, "I'm going to pass through the village again and meet this young couple and stay with them and see how they are." And he goes up to their house, he knocks on their door, and when the doors open, he's surprised to find 3 children running around. And he's surprised and says, "Who are the children?" And they say, "Well, they're ours." And the religious novice says, "Well, what happened?" And he said, "Well, about 6 months after you passed through the town, a great saint happened to be going in the same direction. Like you, we welcomed him in, we gave him provisions, and at the end, he prayed for us. He prayed a blessing into our lives, and this is the fruit of that blessing." So the novice was confused. He went to the temple of the Lord, and he shouted out, "Why do these people have children when you said it was not in their destiny?" And God laughed and said, "That must be the doing of a saint, for they have the power to change destiny." What if this Christian story is a story of saying that we have to unplug from some idea that there is a heavenly destiny, a will that we connect to, that pagan idea that there is a rich man in his castle, a poor man at his gate. God made them high and lowly and ordered their estate. That pagan hymn, "All Things Bright and Beautiful." That line was taken out because I think people realised that everything has a caste, everything has a place, and go, no, that we are destiny. That is the truth of this story. That is the truth of Christianity, that we are the outworking of God in the world, in our material existence, that we are destiny, that we take full responsibility for who we are and for what we do, that we are the people we are waiting for, that if you don't love your neighbour, it will not happen. If you don't decide to live a life of fullness, it will not take place. If you do not decide to live before death, you won't. Now, some people think this story that I tell, this Christianity that I preach, is a Christianity that downgrades religious affirmations, downgrades doctrine. Last year I was asked about this and someone said, "This will lead you to denying central tenets of faith. This will lead you to deny resurrection." And my only response was to come clean, to say, yes, of course, you're right. Of course, that's where I'm going. Of course, I'll be honest. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm not going to stand here and say I believe in the resurrection when it's obvious I don't. My friends could tell you that. The people who know me will tell you that. I do deny it, absolutely. Every time. I am not the site where resurrection takes place. Every time I walk past those who are oppressed. Every time I do not stand up for those who are forced to live on their knees. Every time I do not cry out for those who have no tears left to shed. Every time I do not speak out for those who have had their tongues torn out. I deny the resurrection of Christ. And every time I do, those few times that I do, I affirm it. Because if it is not lived, it is nothing but a lie.
I once was wild, but now I'm lost. I once was wild, but now I'm lost.